Hey guys, this is Emmanuel, your body code practitioner. Just wanted to do a really quick video for those of you who are out there and love to watch some body code information. So for those of you who are really interested, especially if you have a family, if you're a father or a mother or a daughter or a son, and you have this kind of amazing thing called a family going on, but you might say, man, my family is not that great. Really, have you seen my, big fat Greek wedding or whatever it's called? My family's crazy, they're Italiano, they could, whatever. The reality is that we all have complexities, and don't even get me started with in-laws. That's like a whole other seminar. That's going to take a couple of videos if I'm going to do an in-law one. But I really wanted to get to the nitty-gritty of like what's going on with the chemistry of a home. It's kind of interesting too, because for those of you who are in the self-development industry, there are many, many books that you can read in regards to getting better at being a better version of yourself and then things like that. Really interesting that sometimes though, a lot of times, the person that needs to read the book, doesn't read it, The person who really needs to attend the seminar doesn't want to go. And the person who, that really would get a life-changing situation, they just take a hiatus and then started meditating in the Alps with some orange robes, doesn't want to go there, doesn't want to shave their head. So we got a problem here because there's a disconnect in the family with how do we heal our family? Now, I truly believe that if we want to change the world, similar to what one quote says, is that we have to go home and love our family. That's where it all begins, is we have to go home and love our family. The problem is they're really, really hard to love. And we have a lot of complexities. It's not that simple. I mean, I have a book in my home that's called How to Raise a Boy. There's no book on how to raise a girl. The book doesn't exist. Cleon Skousen, who wrote How to Raise a Boy, didn't write the girl book because he's like, they're all different. There's no way to predict them. But in boys, he's noticed a pattern with them. And it was funny because, when it comes down to boys, and you could say doesn't like to eat around this age, 2 to 3 years old, it will drive, the mother crazy because eat, why don't you eat food? You're getting skinny, what's going on? And it's it says in that chapter, just let them eat when they get hungry. Don't put them on a pressured time because that's kind of when it just starts being sporadic, things like that. So the reality is we're complex beings, and we're not just, we're so complex that we have these energies inside of our bodies, whether it comes from inherited, from our family generational things, 30, 60, 90 generations. Then there's the ones that you receive in the womb. Then there's ones that you receive in your present day, like today. And so we're not that simple. And we've just started tapping into the subconscious brain, which is where everything happens, where the real motor behind all of us is our subconscious brain, the iceberg below the water. And so, but not a lot of people tap into it. We're all just scraping off the top of that iceberg, but none of us are really finding out that the bottom of the iceberg is the way that we're going to heal our family. That imagine 5 huge icebergs, and that's your family: the mother, the father, the son, the daughter, the dog. All of them are in there. We're all tampering with the top. We're not tampering with the bottom, and that's what I want to talk to you about today. There's really me as a body code practitioner. Here at Coding Alternative, I've noticed, after working with about 4,000 clients in about 2 years, I've noticed that there's something going on in regards to people and their underlying imbalances, and there's different energetic imbalances that are keeping them where they're supposed to be. And so, obviously you want the best for your son. Obviously you want the best relationship. But I think it all started when I was just I remember when I was speaking to my mother earlier on, and she said and I remember giving her hugs. And I was talking to a client about this earlier, that when I was giving her hugs, I just realized that I was like, you don't really embrace me. It's kind of very uncomfortable for you. And then what did she say? Really interesting. She said, it's because my mother and father never hugged me that way. You see? And so it's interesting that she is duplicating what she learned as a child. But I'm going to tell you that there's more duplication than just action. There's energetic duplication happening. And so there's 5 things that could really help you out. If you're somebody who's into energy healing, and especially if you're into the body code or a body code healer, this is something that you can work on. You can work on resonating with your family. And I really believe it's possible to have one heart, one mind in a family. The first thing is you want to make sure there's no inherited emotions. So inherited emotions can really hinder a family. For example, let's say you work on a child. Let's say I work with your son or daughter, and say, she's this daughter has a lot of anger issues, anger symptoms. I would say, are there any inherited emotions contributing to her anger? You see, that's a good way to start. And I can muscle test from a distance to see if their great grandmother has bitterness inside them, or resentment, or anger, or whatever, something, defensiveness up there that's tricking her to easily be defensive. Because that's what happens. These little energies, the size of a tennis ball or a cantaloupe, can get stuck and get passed down from family member to family member, similar to low-grade animals like rats. They can pass down 10 generations. With humans, they can go up to 50 to 70 to 90. If you look up the Scientific American in 2015 with Holocaust victims, and like I said, there are plenty of other races that have received massive persecution. I'm not neglecting them, but just happens to be the article, 2015, Scientific American talks about Holocaust Jews and how they suffered, and how their great grandkids suffering with depression, anxiety, and PTSD. How is that possible? Well, if something was passed down to them, that makes a lot of sense. And so you want to check for inherited emotions. That's number one. Number two, how if you look at some type of, if you have like a sort of metal tool, and there's like a metal fork, let's say that fork, the tuning fork, what happens when it's vibrating at a certain level or a certain way, and then it goes up to another fork, it starts resonating, right? So there's a thing that you can ask. You say, does my son completely resonate with my daughter? That means, is there any baggage that the son has that's offending the daughter? Muscle test that, check the percentage, and then move it to 100% using the body code system. So it's really cool. Dr. Brad, chiropractor and creator of the emotion code, body code, said that everything that's wrong with your life is just an energetic misalignment. So think of it this way, that can you imagine you can muscle test someone to see how much they align with you? And for those of you outside of the family, if you want to resonate with your girlfriend more or resonate with your wife more, you can also do that. But let's just talk kids. What about two kids who fight a lot? I would say, do you resonate with this person? What percentage is it? Oh, look, 63%. Let's release certain energies in the body code. Who knows there's over 200 hyperlinks that we can go there. Release certain energies from the child. Then all of a sudden now they're getting along. But I highly recommend to work on the other child as well, because they might have offensive energies that are affecting the other one that are, and so there's resonating that the two can do for each other, right? There's also trapped emotions that make them very reactive. They could have absorbed ones or the ones that created themselves. That's number 3, is trapped emotions. The fourth one is heart walls. If you have energies that are blocking your heart, and you're sending mixed messages to people, and then you don't feel much when people give you love and affection, that's called a recipe for disaster. Think about it, guys. Imagine here, I'm going to put you into a room full of loving people, but hey, by the way, you're completely numb. You don't really feel anything, but good luck in the family. That's kind of what we're doing. A lot of kids have trauma from inside the womb, or during school, they get bullied a lot. All of a sudden start blocking their heart with these trapped emotions. What happens is they stop feeling as much. And so the empathy kind of starts declining, and they're like, I don't really feel much. Why should I feel bad for you? It's like, haha, I think that was really funny. And people are picking on each other. Kids are picking on each other. It's because they don't realize the other person's getting hurt because they don't feel much in general. And so heart walls are very devastating because they're sending out mixed messages, and then they're not feeling much back. That's, again, a recipe for disaster. Last one thing is you can also do harmony as well. I have perfect harmony with my partner, and resonating and harmony are very, very different. And so those are the 5 different things I would look into. And if you're working with a body code practitioner, or you're working with us, if you want the family to get along, we have to look at inherited emotions, see if there's any inherited emotions that are making someone act a certain way. Number 1. Number 2 is see if people resonate with each other. And it has to be you resonate with her, and then on the other side, she resonates with him. The cool thing about the body code is that if you're under 18 years old, or you have kids that are under 18, they don't have to really be there. We could just work through the mother. The mother can give me permission, and I can work with the child, and the child has had amazing effects. Inherited emotions, what's a good example? I had a friend or a client that I worked on their son, and all of a sudden it was this inherited conflict. Then the father, I think he was either that day or the next day, reached out to the son and spoke to him for the first time in 2 or 3 years. hasn't spoke to him in a while, and in 2 or 3 years called him. Why? That son also, whenever you release something inherited, it affects the generational family members as well. So that one actually came from the father. Guess what? The father was also healed in a generational pattern as well. And so the father lost this conflict. What did he do? He was probably conflicted. Should I contact my son or should I not contact my son? All of a sudden, he's calling him. Another thing is resonating. I've seen people who are about to split up, and the wife is now sending photos of her son to her husband, and she's listening to him more, even though they're breaking up. So they're becoming more amicable because I've helped them resonate more, helped him resonate more with her, so he's not sending bad energies to her. Also, trapped emotions as well. These little energies can make you super reactive, make you act a certain way that's not really who you are. Also, you can have a heart wall as well. Remember, like I said, desensitized heart and sending mixed messages, bad recipe. So you could have a heart wall. Another thing too is harmony. How much how much harmony do you have with someone? Check the percentage. Use the body code and move it. So hopefully you guys appreciate this message. Like I said, my whole thing is I love seeing families get together closer, get more tight knit. And the only way it's going to happen is we have to drop our emotional baggage, drop our backpacks of heavy stones. I mean, imagine like walking around all day with this heavy backpack with stones, and little by little, it's going to start hurting your back. Can you be nice to your family? No, you get cranky, you get upset, you get frustrated. How about just leaving those backpacks outside and then being your true self? And so hopefully with that, you guys got some insight on this about what are some things of the invisible that we can't see that are holding us back in our family. I always tell people this, that the reality is if you're happy, wealthy, successful, and have everything going for you in your life, and your family is happy, wealthy, successful, everything going for your life, then don't question your paradigm. Don't question the belief system that you have in place. But if you're not there yet, there's some things that are missing. You may want to question everything you know. You might want to take out the carpet beneath you and be like, maybe there's something that I don't know. And I'm telling you, this is one of the biggest revelations for me is energetic imbalances that are destroying families. And if we could just reach to, again, the bottom of the iceberg, stop scooping off the top or taking off the top, we'll really get to the bottom of what's really holding your family back from its full potential. So with that, this is Emmanuel, your body code practitioner out here in Las Vegas. Hopefully you enjoyed this message. Feel free to tag people below or comment below what was your biggest insight from this video. Also, feel free to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Put the little bell on there so it goes bing, lets you know when we have a new video up. We're trying to do 2 or 3 videos a week. And so, again, I would love to hear where you're chiming in from, where you're seeing this video from, if this is a replay or, just definitely love to connect with anyone who is watching this video. And I appreciate your time for watching this. And hopefully this impacts your family. Hopefully this is the year where you and your family get closer together. That's my biggest wish for you. So with that, take care. Bye-bye.